Good evening, everybody. Good evening. All right. Welcome to the 2025 Merrill E. Gaddis Memorial Lecture. Hold for applause. Okay, all right. We're gonna try this one again, all right? Not right now. If you see me do this, that's my hold for applause sign. So when you see me do this, you guys are gonna do what? There we go. All right. Don't hold for applause, do the actual applause. So, this lecture series was established in 1984. That was before everybody in here except for me and a couple other professors. It was done by Dr. John Carter and honors Dr. Merrill Elmer Gaddis, who joined Central in 1929 as the chair of the history department. Dr. Gaddis was a gifted teacher, so I've been told. It was before my time. PhD from the University of Chicago, taught a wide range of history courses, later became the chair of the social sciences. He is the founder of the Kappa chapter of Pi Gamma Mu, the International Honor Society for the Social Sciences, which we continue on with. Over the years, the Gaddis Lecture has featured 38 distinguished alumni, including Fred Birdston, Tad Perry, James Throgmorton. Speakers are chosen by Pi Gamma Mu. Members from nomination, faculty, and other students vote on this, and we come to a consensus. We ask them if they would like to come and speak. Most of them say yes. This year, we're proud to welcome Lauren Janssen, 2012 Central graduate. Lauren is the project management lead at Woodruff Communications in Columbia and Kansas City. Previously served as the communications coordinator for the Missouri United Methodist Foundation. While she was at CMU, she majored in communications, minored in marketing and business, and was active in Sigma Pi Alpha, Spirit Squad, Greek Council, the newspaper, and radio. As a senior, she received the Communication Department Student Media Award. Lauren lives in Columbia with her husband, Chris, their two daughters, Evelyn and Elena. Chris was a 2018 Gaddis lecturer, so we're keeping it in the family with them. So go ahead and please join me in welcoming our 2025 Gaddis Memorial Lecturer, Lauren Janssen. This is the... Thank you. Oh, yes, you are. Give you that.
Let me get all plugged in here. Okay, hi. Thank you all for coming this evening. I have to put my glasses on to read. So I am very thankful for all of you guys coming to see me. It's always a pleasure to be back in Fayette, and I'm extremely honored to have been asked to give the Gaddis Lecture this year. So my name is Lauren Janssen. I am project management lead at Woodruff. We are a full-service marketing agency with offices in Columbia and Kansas City. I currently live in Columbia with my husband, Chris, also a CMU grad, and our two daughters, Evelyn and Elena. I graduated from CMU back in 2012, although it doesn't seem like that long ago that I was sitting where you all currently are. While in college, I was unrealistic with my schedule and said yes to every opportunity that came my way. I was involved in too many activities and groups, and by my senior year, I was leading most of those groups. So I was president of my sorority, Sigma Pi Alpha. I was captain of the Spirit Squad. I was a leader on Greek Council. I had an internship at a radio station in Columbia. I worked a part-time job as a high school cheerleading coach at Rockbridge in Columbia. I had to write my senior thesis, and I had to go to class and somehow do homework in between all of that. So I would describe my schedule as organized chaos, but I think most people would call it overcommitment. There were days I had to wake up at 5 a.m. to go to conditioning. I had to get ready, go to my morning class. Most afternoons, I had to drive to Columbia to either go to my internship or I had to go to cheerleading practice at the high school. And then my evenings were a constant rotation of cheerleading practice here, sorority events or meetings, or laying out the school newspaper. And again, I had to somehow write my thesis and do homework. Looking back, I'm extremely thankful for all the opportunities I was involved in. but it was a recipe for disaster. I was constantly running on fumes. And you know what I didn't have time for? I didn't have time to think about what I was going to do after graduation. I ended up taking the whole summer off after graduation just to physically and mentally recover. But my situation isn't unique. Some of you out there may be feeling the same pressure, that you're spread too thin, you're scared of missing out, but my experience taught me a lesson, that it's not sustainable. I can also tell you that life doesn't slow down. Between family and friends and work and hobbies and trying to leave time for yourself, it's easy to fall back into the chaos and get burnout. Even though I've learned the principles of project management through my career, I've been able to apply them to my personal life to be more balanced and fulfilled. So after my much needed summer recovery, I found my first post-college job as communications coordinator for a nonprofit organization. It was a great introduction into professional life, but after several years, I realized that I wanted something different. At one point, we started working with an agency to do a visual rebrand for our organization, and that experience was a huge turning point for me. After meeting with their team, reviewing timelines, reviewing work that had been created, I realized I loved being a part of that process and that I wanted to be on the other side of that process. I knew at that point that I wanted to transition to agency life, but I wasn't quite sure what positions were available beyond the obvious account service or graphic design. I eventually just Googled advertising agencies in Missouri, and I started to read through descriptions that were posted to websites, trying to find something that matched my strengths. What I ended up learning was about all the other roles agencies have, between strategy and digital, public relations, social media, media buying, finance, operations, and so much more. Through this experience is how I discovered project manager. As soon as I read that job description, I thought to myself, this is it. This is something that would challenge me, but something that I would be extremely good at. It was organizing chaos, it was solving puzzles, it was contributing to large-scale projects, leading people, playing the game of Tetris to figure out who was going to do what and when, all in one position. And that's when I found my passion. So what is project management? The textbook definition of project management is the process of planning, organizing, and overseeing the overall execution of a project from beginning to end. It's often broken into 5 phases: initiation, planning, execution, monitoring, and closure. So initiation is just identifying what the project is. What is the end goal? What does success look like? And who needs to be involved? Planning is laying out the actual roadmap. What is the time we have to do the project in? What are the resources we need? What is the budget we have to work within? And are there any risks? These are all things we have to talk about before the project starts. Execution is when the work actually occurs, and the project manager is still highly involved to guide, to problem solve, and making sure everyone stays aligned to that end goal. Monitoring is keeping an eye on the progress and making adjustments when things don't go to plan. And then finally is the closure of the project. You need to remember to celebrate your successes, document what worked well, and learn from what didn't. My role as project manager is really about bringing order to chaos, creating clarity where there's confusion, and helping a group of people work together towards a shared end goal. We use projects' defined goals to create actionable work plans, allocate essential resources, aka our people. I lost my spot. and help manage the project team as a whole. So in addition, project managers are responsible for ensuring that projects are completed on time, within budget, and to the required quality. Effective project management requires strong communication skills, attention to detail, and the ability to adapt to ever-changing circumstances. It's a critical position in many industries, not just marketing. I've been with Woodruff for almost 6 years and have worked my way up to project management lead. At Woodruff, I have been involved in hundreds of projects a year, from TV commercials, radio, website, print ads, trade show booths, digital ads, press releases, social calendars, and the list goes on. Myself and my team outline team timelines, assign needed resources, the people, and on a daily basis, we keep the teams on track. However, like every industry, burnout is easy to come by. People think they need to work outside office hours or late at night to be a dedicated employee. As a project manager, we also work as a resource manager. I not only plan who is going to do the work and when the deliverable needs to happen, but I work from the other side of it. If a person gets too much on their schedule, I help keep their task prioritized. I work with teams to help decide what truly needs to happen that day, what can be shifted to a different day, and where we might have to ask for additional resources or push back on a deadline. This collaborative prioritization helps my coworkers maintain their balance, and I hope it helps them avoid burnout. I'm also a very strong advocate for my coworkers to take their PTO, and I help manage their workloads so that they don't get PTO guilt. Personally, I've been able to use this mindset outside of work as well. Project management is how I keep my life organized and balanced. It has strengthened my planning, my prioritizing, and it has helped me set boundaries so that I don't get overwhelmed. It helps me ask myself, what matters today, what can wait, and what can I say no to? So as I previously mentioned, life does not slow down. Between work and keeping a home, planning family time, keeping up with kids' schedules, finding time for my own friends and hobbies, it's easy to get overcommitted and overwhelmed. Project managing your life means realizing that your time is a limited resource. There are only so many hours in a day to get things done, and it's okay to plan to do nothing, or AKA rest. Therefore, you need to be your own resource manager. Just like a project at work has a set budget of money, you have a set budget of time, energy, and mental bandwidth. You simply cannot do it all. And project managing your life means understanding your personal limits and setting boundaries. It helps to ask yourself, is this worth my time and energy? You start to realize that everything has a cost. For me, I often ask myself, is this worth my time? Is saying yes to this additional commitment going to drain me or pull me away from something that should be more important? It's about knowing it's okay to focus on one thing and let other things wait, or AKA prioritize. You have to accept that sometimes everything isn't going to happen, and it definitely isn't going to happen all at once. Project management principles teach you to identify the most critical task and focus your energy there. You need to be able to focus on the task at hand and not let your mind jump to dozens of unfinished tasks. This helps you be more efficient with your time, but also more realistic about the task you have time for in a day. I'm sure you have all watched HGTV or some kind of home renovation show at some point. Think about your life as a home renovation show. And there's a set budget, there's a set amount of time, and there's a long list of stuff that has to get done. But not all the walls can be knocked down at once, and not all the fixtures can get installed at once. There has to be priorities and an order to the list of things that need to get done. This helps us realize that saying no is okay so that we can say yes to our priorities. We need to be able to set boundaries for ourselves. Prioritizing helps you draw those lines, whether it's saying no to an extra commitment, declining a social event when you need to rest, or simply just closing your laptop at a decent hour. Boundaries prevent the endless creep of additional commitments. It's also important to try and reduce overstimulation. When you're constantly bombarded with requests and tasks and inundated with information, it's easy to get overwhelmed. By consciously managing your projects, you can create space and prevent the feeling of overstimulation. And it's okay to focus on one thing and delay or even say no to others. And that's not being selfish, that's being smart. My life and my examples relate back to my time at Woodruff, but you don't have to be a professional project manager to project manage. It's not just about delivering marketing pieces. It's about organizing scattered details, communicating with different personalities, all while working towards the same end goal. Think of yourself now as a college student, and you have to organize a large group project. You have to figure out who's going to do the research, what slides you're going to make, and practice all before the end deadline. That's project management. What about planning a big family holiday dinner? Someone has to coordinate the menu, make sure 2 people aren't bringing the same side dishes, and you have to make sure people are bringing plates and utensils. You may not call that project management, but without it, we'd end up with 5 dishes of green bean casserole and no dessert. And what about teachers? They work on a set timeline every day and have to organize and manage a classroom full of children. Someone in the military who has to lead under pressure without all the answers. Retail workers who can effectively communicate and resolve problems with upset customers. Journalists who have to take scattered details and draft a clear, concise article. Event planners who manage multiple events with numerous venues and vendors. Customer service reps who know how to de-escalate, negotiate, and successfully communicate with different personalities. These people and positions don't study project management, yet they are practicing it and doing it daily. They might not use Gantt charts or have specific project management certifications, but they're leaders, they're communicators, and they're organizers. They have to plan and pivot and adjust, all while working towards that same successful end goal. Think about your life right now. How are you already project managing without realizing it? Maybe you're organizing that group project we just mentioned. Maybe you're planning a sorority charitable event, or you're trying to balance part-time jobs with going to class. When you start to break down these everyday projects and activities into simplified tasks and structured thinking and planning, it starts to become second nature in any situation. Your life is your biggest, most important project. By applying these principles of project management and the art of prioritizing, you can hopefully avoid burnout, enjoy the journey, and create a life that is balanced, intentional, and fulfilling. Remember that your job is not to do everything. Your job is to ask, what matters right now? Use your time wisely and actively pursue a sustainable work-life balance. It won't happen on its own. You have to plan for it. Ask yourself, what can wait? Constantly ask yourself, is this worth my time? Even if you are not getting paid in a traditional sense, whether it's an extra club, volunteer position, or even a social event, evaluate its value against your time, energy, and overall goals. And then finally, what can I let go of? It's okay to set boundaries, and it's okay to say no. It's okay to focus on one thing and delay or decline something else if it doesn't align with your priorities or capacity. Your life is always going to be full of competing priorities. No one is going to sit you down and say, here's the perfect balance, here's the timeline, and here's the plan to achieve it. You have to create it yourself. So this week, I want you to pick one area of your life, whether it be your classes, your job, your social commitments, maybe all three, and I want you to try to project manage it. I want you to break it down into tasks. I want you to set priorities, and I want you to see how that feels. Are you able to have a little more clarity? Are you able to gain a little bit more control? Or even do you get more time to breathe and rest? Because when you take a step back and see that your life is a project, you realize it's not about doing everything. It's about doing the right thing at the right time in a way that gives you energy and joy. And that is the real art of prioritizing. Thank you. Thank you. I feel like I went through that quick.
All right, let's give her another round of applause. Thank you, Lauren, for coming in. I'm going to open up to the floor. If anybody has any questions they'd like to ask, now would be the time to do that. I know she is thrilled to answer all the questions you guys have come up with.
Oh.
So you want me to bring the mic to you, or are you good at it?
I'm excellent. Lauren, how do you deal with competing factors coming at you, whether it's your boss, your time, or a client, where you really have two priorities and only one can get done? How do you work through that?
Yeah, so at work, it's definitely compromise. You have to compromise. Yeah. Oh,
yeah,
yes, sorry.
I don't need the same. I don't know why.
Yeah. Yes, so like at work, especially at work, there's always competing priorities. We have multiple clients all trying to get their work done. It's really about teamwork and working with your team, discussing what's actually a priority, what is actually on fire, and having those conversations. It comes back to communicating. Communicate with the people around you, be honest with the people around you. And then from there, it will help you prioritize and get an order to the list. And I would say that's the same with your life as well. If there's competing priorities in your life, it's about talking it through with the team in your life, and what is actually a priority, what needs to get done, and then even decide if we need to say no or push a deadline or delay something. Thank you for that question.
Any other questions?
So I'm looking to be a project manager, and I'm just kind of wondering, like, the process of that. I have for, like, a degree, but is there extra stuff you have to do on top of that?
So I like I mentioned, I just kind of fell into project management. It used to be called traffic in the marketing world. I wouldn't say there's any precursors to project management. There are certifications. There's no specific, well, there might be degrees now, but there's certifications through Google you can take that look good on your resume. But just coming in and kind of having that background of being a leader, being able to communicate, being organized, are all things that will get you in the door to project management. Thank you. Yes?
Can you give some tips on limiting distractors to keep you focused on managing your time well?
I think that's where saying no comes in. Really creating that list of what is a priority and having that be the focus, and just being okay with setting that boundary of not letting task and additional stuff creep in. Always evaluate it. If it's something that would truly bring value to your life, then that's something you need to work through and maybe add it to your priority list or where it could fit in. But I think that's where we need to get comfortable with saying no and setting that boundary. Well, look who showed up late.
I know, right? No round of applause for that.
Yeah.
Any other questions? Let me try that in English. Are there any other questions? Let's go ahead and give it up for Lauren one more time.
Yes, thank you. Oh, you want that? Yeah, thank you.